All right. Before I embarrass myself, let's get into the news. Let's go to press. All right, it's a light news week, but we got a couple things here. ISS Vanguard, which is the new game from Awakened Realms, who are sort of the kings and queens of Kickstarter right now, has a new game coming, but not to Kickstarter. I've never seen this before. So Awakened Realms, who did Etherfields and Tainted Grail and Nemesis and all these huge, giant mini games that make tens of millions of dollars, they have created their own Kickstarter because they're like, why are we giving Kickstarter money? We don't need them anymore. So they have their own pledge manager, which is like when Kickstarter ends, you have this site that you use that, you know, helps make sure you get your games delivered to you. So they have this thing called GameFound they use for their games. And for the first time ever, they're just putting their game up on GameFound and they're just cutting out Kickstarter. And I guess they'll get 100% of the profits because I'm sure Kickstarter takes a huge share.
I think it's 11%.
Yeah. So I mean, that seems like could be a potential game changer. Why wouldn't Isaac Childress just start his own Kickstarter for the next Gloomhaven? Like at this point now, he's the brand, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess Awakened Realms is done with Kickstarter, and we do not have a date yet. I think it's going to be early 2021 when ISS Vanguard comes to GameFound, but they did announce that the core box will be $99, which is pretty standard for their expensive games filled with minis. Speaking of expensive games, but not with minis, Vindication is a very highly thematic Euro game that came out a year or two ago on Kickstarter. They have a new reprint and expansion, but when looking at the expansion, which only costs $30, it seems that it's more of a reprint and they're throwing in an expansion. But Vindication's new expansion is called the Chronicles Expansion. Apparently, it's all about customizing your characters. I haven't played Vindication. Have either of you played it?
No.
Yeah, I played it.
What'd you think of it, Elder?
It was just okay. It didn't really get me super excited.
The theme was cool, right? You're like a scoundrel who's trying to become a good human being or something.
Yeah. It's like I kind of feel like as a concept that sounds cool. I don't know if the mechanics really reflect
pushing
that
cubes
so much. Yeah, you're kind of pushing cubes. It's there was some pretty art, and it wasn't a bad game by any stretch. But it wasn't one of those games where I like, oh man, I got to go play that again. And there's been opportunities to play it since then, and I haven't been that excited about it. So
right. Yeah. And to show you what COVID has done to Kickstarter production, the estimated delivery date of this is January 2022.
Holy shit.
Wow.
So I looked at that and I did a double take because I'm like, that's more than 2 years from now to deliver a reprint and an expansion.
Wow.
Yeah, that's rough. That's pretty rough. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that in Kickstarters. This is exciting. We have some big box news. So board games often do big box versions of games where all of the expansions have gone out of print. So they put a big box out and throw all the expansions in and charge you 3 times as much. But Alexander Pfister's game Port Royal is getting a big box edition in 21. I didn't even know there were that many expansions to it, but this will include all of the expansions, and they're taking the opportunity to give you all new artwork, completely new art, completely new graphic design, and basically redoing the whole look and design of the game and incorporating all known expansions. Have either of you played Port Royal?
Oh, a ton. It's one of our favorite fillers.
Oh, it's a filler.
Yes.
Interesting. Elder, you played it?
I played it with Jennifer. Jennifer taught me how to play.
Are the expansions interesting? Do you know anything about them?
Nope. We never played with them, but that's very typical for me. If the base game is fun, why expand?
Yeah. Well, and that's rare that that fillers ever have an expansion either, I feel like. But anyway, so that's coming sometime in 21. They haven't announced a date yet, but they will be releasing a big box. And if that's a game that you had your eye on or one that you owned but never could find the expansions, well, there you go. And the other big box is Alhambra. Alhambra's getting a second edition big box. They've already had one big box. So where do you go from there? Well, you got to have a second edition of the big box. This also, all new artwork, new game boards. It comes with 6 expansions, an acrylic tile dispenser, and this will be coming to Kickstarter. It is on Kickstarter. I take that back. It's on Kickstarter. By the time you hear this, there's a week left to go. So if Alhambra is a game you love, that's, what's funny is Alhambra is one of those sort of classic Euros that I've never played. I'm sure both of you have played it. What are your thoughts on Alhambra?
I just remember intensely disliking it.
I remember it being like one of my, kind of early Euros. So like one of those games that was there when I was just entering the hobby.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were into it. And I didn't think it was a bad game, but again, I feel like we've come a long way from Alhambra. So,
right. And it looks a little Carcassonne-esque, tile laying game, right?
It is tile laying, but yeah, plays pretty differently from Carcassonne, other than I think there's some like adjacency stuff, and there's this there's something about the different color money being able to buy different things, and there's this construction mechanic where your walls can't intersect your city. So yeah, I mean it was. Yeah, and there's set collection. I think you got like certain points for certain types of buildings that you have. It's simple, but again, it's that like when did the first one come out? Early 2000s or so?
Yeah, that sounds about right. 2003,
Spills to Jers. Yeah, it feels like a game that's almost 20 years old.
Yep. Well, if that does sound interesting to you, or if you've been trying to get your hands on the big box, you'll have a week left on Kickstarter if you're hearing this in the beginning of December when the episode comes out. And lastly, there's a documentary about our hobby called Game Master. The documentary features Eric Lang, Ryder Knizia, Tom Vassell, and many other icons of the industry talking about how to make it in board games. The documentary was only available on their website, I believe, for a long time, and you had to pay to download it, but it has now been put up on Amazon Prime. So if you were looking for some board game related watching over the holidays, I'm definitely going to watch this documentary. It was on my radar for a while. And now it's on Amazon Prime, so you can watch it as long as you have a Prime subscription. It is called Game Master, and again, it is a documentary about our hobby. Have either one of you seen it?
No.
I have not, but I'm interested. I think I've even watched the trailer before.
Yeah.
So
I watched it too.
Now that it's on Prime, it'll be.
I love any documentary about games. I'll watch a documentary about, Pinochle or something. I don't care. Hey, if you enjoyed that video, you very well might enjoy the other videos you now see being suggested to you on screen. Also, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could like, share, or subscribe to our Game Brain channel. Thanks so much.